with people that voted for Trump, it's cool to look them in the face and be like, I told you so. He's going to ruin your life. And he did. It's cool, right? Tell him, you found out. It's cool until it's not, because for everything that he does to the people that are in his base that ruins their lives, it's also ruining our lives. Now, one of his supporters does an interview where he says voting for Trump cost him his job. And I want to take a look at it. I haven't seen it yet. It's posted by the channel More Perfect Union. And I just want to get his perspective, see what he thinks after Trump has been in office for 180 days. Let's see what it is that his supporters actually think, what they're going through, and see if we can learn something from it. Because at the end of the day, when these people suffer, we suffer as well, because we're all in this together. This is America.
I had heard people say if you vote for this, you're going to get what you voted for. But that's what people say every election.
A catastrophic wave of layoffs is hitting electricians in Maine. It may be a preview of hundreds of thousands of jobs that could be lost nationwide after President Trump and Republicans just repealed billions in clean energy investments.
It was like a light switch got opened, and all of our work just disappeared overnight.
We went to Maine.
So the clean energy thing is what Elon Musk was crying about. It's one of the things that recently made him turn on Trump. Of course, earlier in the year, they were already having problems. They were already going through it. Their bromance or whatever they had going on, it ended. But now with Trump's big, beautiful bill, they also ended all of those kickbacks and incentives for the clean energy programs, the electric vehicle programs, the things that were making Tesla profitable initially, right? Tesla is relying on those things to boost their profitability as well. And that's what they're talking about here.
Where a solar boom has already come to an abrupt halt.
I got laid off at the beginning of May. I haven't gotten any calls yet.
I'm on unemployment right now, and in the state of Maine, that's $595 per week, and I pay rent, that's $1,350 a month.
This has nothing to do with our local union or the companies around us bidding jobs. It solely comes down to what's happening in our federal government right now.
We came here to talk to electricians who voted for Trump to understand how are they thinking about his agenda now that it's costing them work. We're outside Bangor, Maine.
One of the things that's interesting is Trump ran on this. He said that he was not with the clean energy incentives, and he was going to get back to ICE vehicles and all of that stuff. So the people that voted for him that are facing this stuff, like, come on now, what do you expect?
And we're headed to meet an apprentice electrician who's been working steadily for the last several years, but suddenly he finds himself unemployed, and he wants to talk to us about why.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how are you? Sam.
Braden,
Nice
come
to
right
meet you.
in.
Thank you so much.
A good friend of mine in high school, he was 3 grades above me, and whenever I'd go over to his house, he'd have $2,000 guitars, like a $5,000 Marshall amplifier. And I'm like, where are you getting all this money, dude? And he's like, well, I'm an electrician. I'm learning to be an electrician. You should do it too.
Braden House is an apprentice electrician who last year voted for Trump.
Shout out to everybody that goes into the trades.
After finding out I was having my daughter at 17, I'm like, I need money, and it ain't gonna be spent on guitars and amplifiers. It's gonna be spent on diapers and making a future for this kid. I applied to
That's
the
what's up.
apprenticeship.
Shout out to him.
and heard back in March of 22, and I started work 3 weeks after I graduated high school. I'm a 17-year-old kid. They're asking me like life experience questions. I'm like, I don't know, dude. I work at a Dunkin' Donuts. My first week, I get a check for $1,300 for a 40-hour week, and I'm like, yep, this is what I'm doing now. I'm sticking with this.
All of the training, all the time that he took to get into that field, only for him to be there 3 years, and the opportunity just dries up in what seems like an instant, based on the consequences of his own actions. Like I said, I'm not telling these people that they and found out. But what I am saying is, sometimes your actions have detrimental consequences. And that's what's going on here. And unfortunately, it's not just going to be the people that voted for Trump. It's all of us. This has ripple effects for all of us. So don't just laugh in their face and tell them, ha ha. Like, yeah, that is part of it. But also, we get affected too. So if you're going to laugh, you're laughing at yourself as well.
Obviously, you see the arrays of solar panels, and you see underneath it.
Braden took me to one of the 8 solar projects he has helped build over the last several years.
Nothing beats like just before August, like May to June in a solar field.
I remember being on a solar field one day, and I'm I get an email of my Lincoln Financial account. I'm like, holy shit, I've only been doing this for a year and a half, and I have $3,000 in my retirement account.
Why do you think the work was so steady?
Because there were so many solar projects. You can't go anywhere in the state without seeing a solar field or multiple.
It kept every electrician in our local union employed.
Scott Cuddy is a longtime electrician out of the same union local as Braden. He told me that until recently, there were so few jobs for electricians that they had to take across-the-board pay cuts to get work.
We had 0 solar projects going on for years and years and years. Guys were traveling to other jurisdictions to go work on solar projects.
That started to change in 2022.
President Biden's signing of the Inflation Reduction Act today comes after more than a year of negotiations among Democrats in Congress.
The Inflation Reduction Act was the largest federal...
So that dude, the young dude that got into it, he got in at the perfect time. He said he started in 22. The Inflation Reduction Act got signed in 2022. So he got in right when the market was hot. When they said, hey, we have a ton of money that we're devoting to this. He was like, yo, I'm getting $1,300 checks. I had $3,000 in my retirement. This is amazing. I've chosen a career field that I could go in and do in perpetuity until you can't. This also made me think about a guy that I know from the military when I was in the military. He actually started a solar company probably around this time, 21, 22, 23. And it just made me think, what's going to happen with his company? He does residential, right? So maybe it's a little different. I'm not entirely sure. But I'm gonna have to ask him. I'm gonna have to reach out to him and ask him if this has any effect on his business. It just made me think of that.
Investment in clean energy jobs in American history. It provided tax credits that encouraged business to build renewable projects like solar, wind, and battery storage. And as those projects multiplied, the landscape for skilled trades workers transformed.
The rate for a union electrician is currently about $39 an hour. In 2020,
that's good money.
We were at about $29, $30 an hour. So we have seen an enormous increase in the wages for the people doing the work. And that's because when you have work to do, you get bargaining power.
They were so desperate for people,
supply and
they'd raise
demand.
the amount of money they'd pay you per hour to get you there, and it was competitive. Companies were competing on how much they would pay their guys to get the amount of guys that they needed to finish these solar fields. Solar, it fed my family. You know, solar lined my pockets, and it gave me work for years.
Take me through your thinking. What was...
There's actually been a push, I think it's in Philadelphia, to get kids more into trades. And them talking about it being competitive, it just made me think of this article I read where there was a kid, he's 17, he's a junior in high school, going into his senior year in 2025. And he was talking about he was getting job offers already. He said it felt like being scouted like as an NBA prospect or being scouted for a college. All of these different people are coming, offering you jobs, telling you, hey, when you graduate, can you come here? And of course, when you have that type of supply and demand for those skills, because there are not as many people that are able to do them based on the amount of projects that you have, there's a lot of bargaining power there, just like these guys are saying. So this is solar specifically, but that is going to have an effect on electricians. So I'm interested to see how this plays out over the next 3.5 years with Trump as the president, with him rolling back all of this stuff that Biden did.
What was your thinking when you decided to vote for Trump?
When I voted for Trump, my big thing was I agreed with his stance on immigration. I agreed with his idea of no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. I liked his stance on no new wars. And now we're seeing the exact opposite happen. The immigration thing and Palestine were two of the biggest things that turned people off to the Biden administration and to the potential Harris administration. At least in who I've spoken to on job sites.
What was your reaction when Trump was elected?
I was not surprised.
But were you happy? I mean, you voted for Trump.
Yeah, I was pretty happy. Happy's not the right word. I was indifferent. I was more, great. The better of two evils. Let's hope nothing goes bad. And then now it's going bad.
That's where we're going to go ahead and end this clip. Let me tell you something. This guy got nothing that he was asking for. He said no tax on tips. They're only doing that for a couple of years. The big, beautiful bill, yes, it rolled back taxes on tips up to a certain amount for a couple of years. After that, finito. When the next president comes into office, you're getting taxed on your tips again. What else did he say? Immigration. Yes, they have been, quote unquote, tough on immigration, but they also said oh, well, maybe we'll consider keeping some people in if they're farm workers, if they work in hospitality. So you're not exactly getting what you bargained for as far as immigration and getting illegal migrants out of the U.S. And then he said no more foreign wars. And we know how that's going. We ended up having to bomb Iran because of the conflict between Iran and Israeli and the nuclear facilities and all of this hoopla that was made about that. We end up having to bomb them. It doesn't seem to have escalated yet. They may be in peace talks and negotiations, and that's what the Iranian president said that he was interested in. He did an interview with Tucker Carlson. But, you know, things could always change, and then you'll be 0 for 3 on the things that you voted for Trump for. No foreign wars, no tax on tips, and owning the immigrants. Now, like I said, I'm not here to say that he found out, but sometimes when you kick people's back in, you got to watch out because your back is going to get kicked in too.